Welcome to the program, Mr. Secretary. How are you today?
I am doing well. Good to be with you. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
We were hyping you up a little bit and saying that you are a Wisconsin logger, that you cut down trees and do like exceptional logging work. I'm not sure if our producers have pulled any of that, but I do want to like set the groundwork here that is in fact something that you do.
So
you carry an axe and you can like fell a tree.
So first groundwork is you are way better dressed than me. I'd prefer to have a t-shirt on versus a suit. So well done. But yeah, so if you ever watch ESPN 6, like at 4 o'clock in the morning, so chopping, sawing, log rolling, tree climbing, all the skills of the old time lumberjacks. I grew up doing that, right? So log rolling, you start when you're really little. Speed climbing, it's a race up and down a 60, 100-foot spar pole. It's not just up, but it's coming back down as well, which is pretty cool. And then the chopping and sawing events as well. So yeah, it's kind of like, old school sports, but these aren't fat, overweight lumberjacks. They're incredibly fit, remarkable athletes. So it's a pretty cool sport. And it's Americana.
Yes, it's very Americana. And I'm sure all that axe wielding and all of that timber has made you well suited for this current environment in Washington, D.C. We just got to start, I guess, with the top line today. Donald Trump going scorched earth at the White House, dropping F-bombs. First time we've ever seen that for a president. Getting, I think, a lot of righteous indignation as he is trying to build peace here in the Mideast. Your take on this is pretty remarkable.
Yeah, no, so listen, I think we have a president who, again, wants to take out risks like he did on the attack on Iran, but he also is a fighter for peace, right? And he's not playing sides here. And frankly, he was calling out Israel as well. And again, he's one-track minded in how do I reduce risk and how do I bring peace? And again, what I love about him is you know exactly what he's thinking. He doesn't mince words, right? I heard the F-bomb. I think they were able to bleep it out on Fox and Friends probably a second before, but we all knew what the president was saying. And again, I think it shows his level of frustration where he thought he had a peace deal signed. And again, that didn't happen. But make no mistake, he's going to continue to work with both Iran and Israel to broker peace and find a way forward.
Yeah, we've been focused very much on this program on establishing peace here. We think that President Trump is a peacetime president. It's the greatest thing we've seen President Trump do, actually, is walk into North Korea and be clapped on the back by Kim Jong-un. It's like an active war zone. That was one of the most remarkable things to ever see. Everyone loved that. And I think President Trump is like trying to set the table for that right now. You know the man very, very well. Can you explain sort of his thinking? And I know you're in constant communication with him. Can you explain his thinking just on this topic
but listen,
of peace right now?
Remember Kim Jong-un, I mean, he had been calling him Little Rocket Man and mocking him before he agreed to the meeting.
I have a button that works.
Yeah, right. Exactly. And, I think what's interesting is prior American leaders, it was so formaic, right? You knew what they were going to do. You knew what they weren't going to do. You knew what they were going to say, what they wouldn't say. And I think because President Trump is unpredictable, right? No one knows if he's bluffing with what he says or if he's actually meaning what he says, right? So they take everything he says seriously. And that's a really great negotiating place to come from. And again, I think whether you're in business and you're negotiating, construction contracts for your skyscrapers, the buildings that you're building, the golf courses that you build, the same philosophy works in government. You don't know what he's going to do. And so if he says it, they all somewhat recoil. They're like, oh my God, he actually could do this. And I think that's a great place to come from. And I think it's a great way to bring us closer to peace. And again, to your point, whether it's in Africa, what he's working on in the Middle East, he wants, again, he kept talking about, in the Ukraine-Russian war, all of the young men that were dying. And it really disturbed him, right? He doesn't want to see a loss of life. And it's interesting that the liberal media tries to portray him as something other than that. But if you actually listen to him, he doesn't want these young people, these young kids to lose their lives in senseless wars.
Mr. Secretary, as we watched the last 4 years of our open border and what was just sort of an obscenity to the American people, I remember getting on flights, perhaps you were on flights as well, and commercial airlines, when you would see criminal aliens being just escorted onto your aircraft. and they had these placards. They couldn't read or speak English, and they were like walked onto commercial flights by the Biden administration. And I had to, I was flying. You fly a lot in this industry, and I know you do too. And I was constantly seeing this and thinking, like, what the hell is going on here? Big ruling at the Supreme Court in favor of mass deportations. Will the Department of Transportation, who must have assisted in the bringing of 15 million criminal aliens into this country, will the Department of Transportation be assisting in the deportation of these criminal aliens?
So listen, you think of people who we didn't know who they were. There weren't significant background checks. There really weren't any background checks done on these people who were getting on flights with American citizens and got a free ticket to any place of their choosing in the country at your expense, which was outrageous. I wasn't on those flights. My wife was on a number of those flights with those illegals. And by the way, what's more troubling is those who didn't get on the flights but came across the border, the gotaways. We have no idea who they are. Are they part of a terrorist cell? We don't know. It's incredibly concerning. But this will be a DOT and a Homeland Security effort. But whenever we're asked to assist, we do. Again, even as they tried to bus illegals from one location to the other, we have rules around how long drivers can be behind the wheel. We're willing to relook at those rules in regard to emergencies that take place. And we will waive the rules and partner with all the agencies as they accomplish their missions. Even, Benny, there was drone activity around detention facilities from we don't know who they were. They were probably left-wing actors, or their media, or they're part of the protests. But again, we have the FAA at the DOT, and we work with our fellow agencies to make sure that not only our agents are safe, but also we're able to accomplish the mission of deporting really bad people from the country, and whether they go back to their country of origin or, like the Supreme Court said, they can go to a third country because they're so bad their country of origin won't take them back. Again, we partner and help in every way we can.
Enjoy South Sudan, right? Like have a great vacation. Come here criminally and enjoy South Sudan. You'll have a. I assure you, it's worse than where you came from. Yeah,
it's the best immigration policy Trump could implement. It's like, don't come, South Sudan. You might go.
It's not Pirates of the Caribbean. Yes. So you've done excellent work inside of the DOT in order to reestablish some deterrence here. You announced last week that the DOT will not be assisting in rebuilding of places that have been ravaged by anti-ICE protesters, criminal aliens, torching and destroying cities. Can you explain your stance here,
Sure.
and as perhaps a warning to any sanctuary city or place?
First of all, a couple things. At DOT, we have a lot of equity. So whether it's air travel, airplanes, roads, bridges, we regulate cars, pipelines, ports, rail, passenger, freight. It's a huge set of equities. But a lot of communities and states, all of them around the country, apply to us for grant money. But then you look at these protests and you see these vile actors busting up our roads and our curbs. And when they do that, then those cities will reach out to us and ask for grant money to fix the roads that were damaged or the bridges that were damaged by these protesters, which, by the way, they let protest. They let them stay there. They tried to thwart Donald Trump from bringing in the National Guard or the military to put an end to the violence. We're not going to fund those. We're not going to help rebuild the roads that they allowed to be destroyed. I had a request come in to help repair the damage from the George Floyd riots in the Twin Cities area. I'm like, why should the American taxpayer fund the damage that you all were celebrating? Tim Walz was celebrating the protesters. He opened up his windows so we could smell the smells of the rioters, and then you, the taxpayer, is going to pay to rebuild the roads that they had destroyed. So listen, we're not going to partner and partake in any of that. And by the way, infrastructure, it's American infrastructure. It's not red infrastructure or blue infrastructure,
yes. Right?
We all use it, and so I care about that, even in blue states and blue cities. However, we're not going to pay for what you've been showing on your screen. Again, these radicals who the left partners with and supports to protest in your streets, destroy infrastructure, not going to pay.
It's something that we're constantly talking about. It's the pothole theory, and that you can really tell a place if it's cared for by its leaders if the potholes are filled. And if they're not filled, then that's just like the simplest in the words of Donald Trump, F you to the population there, because you just don't care. It damages your car. It's so obnoxious. It's so annoying. It rattles your kid's teeth in the back of your truck. And if the roads are pristine and beautiful and are cared for, and that's actually the fastest way to see if the population is cared for. And that's why I think so many people voted for President Trump, is they wanted an America First policy that filled potholes, I guess.
But Benny, that's a really good point, because if you look at we have debates with the left about what is the role of government, what should governments do, and the government should do things that we can't do for ourselves, which is that infrastructure, those roads and those bridges that connect our people, move our goods. That is truly a role of government, and you can tell how a community or a state cares about those roads. To your point on potholes, but also how much garbage is on the side of the road. Do they clean up the roadways? Do they pick them up? Do they care about how beautiful they are, or do they allow them to be trashed? And again, that's not one of the factors that we look at. But again, I think it's incumbent upon communities to make sure they do their part, right, to keep their infrastructure up to speed. I mean, even, Benny, we've had this debate about what we do with air traffic control. You say you fly a lot. I fly a lot. I keep commenting the FAA must hate me, because it seems like every flight I'm on is delayed right now by an hour or two, right? And I'm like, are you intentionally doing this to me? And it's become more problematic as we have more people that want to fly. And we have this old system, right, that hasn't been updated in 35 to 45 years. And it can't handle all the traffic that we have going through our skies. And our people, they're safe, but they think that their government actually pays attention to these things when they're not paying attention. They want their government and their systems to work. And we haven't. It's just old and dilapidated, which, I mean, we saw that through DOGE as well, right? DOGE was, exposing, we're using 1990s software in much of government. And again, I think it's the job of this administration to say, how do you make government truly more efficient? How do you keep that bond with the American people when they send their tax dollars in? They want it to be used well on the infrastructure that they use, whether it's roads and bridges, whether it's their rail, which, by the way, in California, they have a $4 billion grant on a railway that'll go nowhere. By the way, it's a high-speed rail. I'd love high-speed rail in this country, but you should actually build high-speed rail if you're going to get money for it. California hasn't done that. But also, you expect that you have an infrastructure for air traffic control in place that I can handle not just the current aircraft, but I'm going to have these eVTOLs, these Ubers in the air, these vertical takeoff.
Totally.
This is
air taxis, yes.
Air taxis. It's going to complicate the airspace, but it's amazing technology that's going to move people differently. Or drones in the air. We can't accommodate that.
Or supersonic.
Supersonic, right? Boom, right? Yeah. The technology around supersonic flight is going to be remarkable, and computer technology will allow supersonic flights where that sound will ricochet off the atmosphere before it hits the ground, so you won't hear it on the ground when you have supersonic flights coming over the country. Really cool technology, but it's been decades of neglect that put us in the situation that we're in right now. And what I love about this president, whether it's in the Middle East or it's at home, he's doing things that might be hard, but the American people expect, right? Make the government more efficient, spend their dollars well, and invest in the things that they care about, and set rules that allow for innovation and creativity to happen here, and have that technology deployed here with American jobs here, as opposed to, letting these innovators have to go somewhere else in the world and bring their jobs somewhere else in the world because we're so stupid with the way we regulate business.
Oh, thank you for saying that, Mr. Secretary. It's so frustrating to cover the president when he's on these foreign trips and to see how beautiful the infrastructure is all around the globe because we pay for other people's protections. Right. And then to see how dilapidated and how backwards like our Amtraks are here, don't have a filling, right? If you're in an Amtrak, the car's rattling so terribly. The way our air traffic works, it'd be so wonderful. So are you saying, just really quickly, are you saying that we can expect robo-taxis, air taxis in these next couple of years, supersonic flight to be approved in this country?
100%. So I think the next 4 years, what you're going to see is, and again, what we have to do is make sure we're kind of like Goldilocks, right? Remember, not too hot, not too cold, just right, Benny. We can't go too fast because if there's accidents, right, it's going to set us back. And we can't go too slow. So we have to set the right path forward where as the technology develops, we're allowing the rules that allow this to be deployed. So we're already test flying these eVTOLs, these air taxis, and drones and supersonic flights are already being tested. And again, I think so you think about, just if I could quickly say, again, AI is amazing technology. It's going to revolutionize the way things work. But outside of AI, we are the most innovative place where, again, we're going to have autonomous vehicles. We're going to have these eVTOLs, these air taxis. We're going to have drones. And so the way your products and our people move is going to fundamentally change. It's like the birth of my cracked iPhone is, we don't know what it's going to bring, but it's fundamentally going to change the way we live. And for the better. And it's important that we get it right on the regulatory side. Again, because if you have accidents because you went too fast, people freak out and they don't adopt the technology. But let it go. Again, there's some risk when we do it, but in the end, I think people are going to be safer. They're going to move faster. There's going to be less congestion. And again, it's our job to make sure we go at the right pace with the right rules.
This is fantastic. I've just been such a fan of the work that you've done. I've never seen Department of Transportation actually like focused on the American people, on the potholes, proverbial, metaphorical, and physical in this country before. And it's like, the difference in administrations. The transportation secretary was defined by East Palestine in the last administration, right. And you're defined by like Elon Musk parallel parking rockets. It's wild.
Yeah, catching them with chopsticks, right? It's remarkable. So cool. By the way, we have the airspace. So from an inch off the ground until space, that's ours at the FAA. And what you're going to see with rocket launches, you're going to see more than one a day in the not too distant future. And again, America is leading the way. And we have SpaceX, but Blue Origin, and there's a lot of other players in the space. And again, what you see is this innovation happening in America again, which is wonderful, right? We're innovative people, but when you have a government that suppresses the innovator, right, that doesn't allow them to evolve here, again, they stop or they go somewhere else. And what you're seeing now is actually we're supporting it, we're encouraging it. We're not just beating them up. We're like, listen, we got to regulate, we got to do things right, but we support you. Like, we want you to do this. We're excited about what you're doing because it's going to be in America by Americans.
We just have to really quickly touch on this because you just brought up Blue Origin. One of the most viral things you ever posted was that Katy Perry isn't an astronaut, and I just wanted to ask about that. And if you don't mind a double question here, you also brought up Doge, and boy, howdy, Mr. Secretary, one of the first things that you posted on February 6th from your official account, that it got 10 million views, 200,000 likes, and 57,000 reposts, was you just telling Hillary Clinton, see you later, lady. You just nuked Hillary from space, saying that you've cut out the obscene grifting at USAID, and you won't let her lie and distort facts after she was attacking you. We just love to see that. We love to see this energy. Maybe this is like an open-ended question. Your daughter, by the way, responded to it saying, my dad is not suicidal, which I think is important. Just like, can you maybe explain this new energy that you're bringing to this role?
Well, you know what? I think that the president allows us to be unleashed, right? And in these secretarial roles, we can fight back, we can push back, we can drive forward, and because he does it every single day, and we can be authentic in how we do it. So again, I think it's okay to engage in culture and go, you know what, let's be honest. It's cool. These ladies all went up on a Blue Origin flight. They're space tourists, but to come back and say they're astronauts, let's be honest, they're not, right? They're space tourists. I want to clear the air on that. And then again, that Hillary Clinton had the audacity to come after me and try to chide us, I think this was after the DCA air crash. I'm like, listen, I'm sorry, Hillary. She has no credibility, and we're not going to take it. So we're going to fight back and push back against her. And again, I think a lot of other secretaries and other administrations wouldn't feel comfortable pushing back when they're taking heat from the likes of Hillary Clinton. But the president, he's like, you know what? We are in a war. The left is at war with us. And when they take shots, don't be afraid to fire back. don't take their lies and the misrepresentation. So it's so cool to work for a president who is engaged in culture, but engaged with the cabinet and really good policies. Listen, it's incredibly freeing. I haven't worked for a different president, but I've watched other presidents, and what he does for us to allow us to fight with him and for the American people is really cool. And by the way, when you sit in the cabinet meetings, Benny, it's remarkable how he thinks, how he brings his team together. And I've never been in a different cabinet room, but you see this cabinet, everyone's working together, everyone's trying to partner together, everyone's trying to support each other, they're applauding each other. No one's stabbing anyone in the back. No one is fighting with anyone inside the cabinet. Everyone's getting along and trying to accomplish the agenda of this president, which is what you want. That's why you elected him, right? You want everyone to fight for the policies that he ran on, and that the culture that he's created, that's actually happening inside of all of our different departments and inside the cabinet room, which again, I think will give you better results for the mission that the president has set out, the mission that he ran on.
Something tells me, Mr. Secretary, that Donald Trump's going to enjoy you hitting back at Hillary Clinton so savagely. And he's also going to enjoy this final thing that you did yesterday. You brought back a Jesus painting at the Merchant Marine Academy. I know you just gave a commencement address here at the Academy. It's up on our social media. It's a beautiful address. You talked about fatherhood and raising a family, and you were just attacked for that yourself. You have 1 million kids, just like I do. It's the greatest thing ever. But then you brought back a painting of Christ here, saving a wayward vessel, and brought that back to the forefront. And you're not ashamed of that. And I just want to give you an opportunity to comment on it.
So I have that same painting behind me. I took a picture of it and had a replica made. So this is Christ on the water, and it was hung in Wiley Hall, one of the most prominent rooms inside of the Merchant Marine Academy. And the last administration, received a letter complaining about Christ in the water. And so they took it from this place of prominence and they moved it down into a basement. They actually had to fold it up because it couldn't fit all the way in the basement. And it's absolutely unacceptable. And so what we've done is said, you know what, we're going to take Jesus out of the basement and we're going to move, and again, it's going to take us some time because we have to unfold it and have the curators come in, but we're going to move it back to a place of prominence. Again, we don't have to take Jesus out of every institution, and a beautiful painting like that should not be in the basement of a chapel. So Jesus is on his way back up to his place of prominence at the Merchant Marine Academy. And by the way, Benny, these you probably haven't heard of the Merchant Marine Academy. It's not Annapolis, it's not West Point. Some of the most remarkable young men and women come from this academy. They sail the ships that support our military. They bring whether they're weapons or food or vehicles to our military men and women on the front lines. 40% of them go into the military. They're the most highly recruited cadets, or they're midshipmen, into the military because they're just the hardest working, strongest, greatest kids and again, I have a lot of kids I can compare to. They are just fantastic kids, and they fall under DOT. They're living on a campus that's dilapidated, where they have mold. They went 4 months without hot water at this academy. Their dishwasher broke, so they're eating off of paper plates and using plastic forks. And so I have committed to them that we are going to get the resources and rebuild that academy that produces these wonderful young men and women, great Americans, and make it worthy of an American service academy. So it's fantastic.
That's wonderful. It's incredible to hear, and it's just an amazing thing to see. Just the through line here of secretaries in this administration, the entire administration, living out their values. Everything from Trump's comments this morning to just being able to fight back is just a wonderful thing to see. It's incredibly inspiring. Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Everybody follow, obviously, Secretary Duffy right here. He's got nearly 400,000 followers. It is also remarkable how popular everything that you are doing is.
Benny,
you never see a transportation secretary.
With your help, I'll just get to 500,000.
Please.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Get in there.
Your 4 million listeners, just give me 100,000 to come on board at Sec Duffy. We'd appreciate it.
Let's go. We know that you're due at the White House. We appreciate your time, Mr. Secretary. Godspeed.
Thank you, Benny. Have a good one.